All right, we just might get fired. Throw this shirt in there real quick. Uh, Season 2, the Teachers Lounge, episode 4. Topic today is teachers and social media. You know, teachers we see get fired all the time for exercising their right of free speech. And also, you know, just a moment of, have you ever said something that could jeopardize, you know, your position of, you know, with us being titled, we just might get fired. I can go ahead and say, yeah, and then I'll tell y'all about it later. But I don't know, man. I think we sometimes do say some things that put us in a situation, you know, but at the same time, man, it's freedom of speech, you know. And I just want to know how you felt about it, you know, Brown, Mr. McMillan, you know, chime in at any time and tell us, you know, is it right? Like, is it a freedom of speech with an asterisk next to it or something? Like, what's the
It's
deal?
always an asterisk next to it. Go ahead, Mr. Brian. You on fire? Go ahead.
Man, not even on fire, but not, it just the freedom of speech just guarantees that you won't be killed for what you say. It doesn't say freedom of speech with no consequences, right? You know, like daddy used to tell you when you was growing up, you can say what you want, but you know, if you say the wrong thing to him or mama, you get popped. You go outside and you say the wrong thing to the wrong kid, you get punched. So again, you have the freedom to say whatever you want, because believe me, in other parts of the world, if you scoff at something the government does, you can be beheaded. Boom, right there. You know what I'm saying? So we can say what we want. It doesn't protect your job. It don't protect your face. You know what I'm saying? It's the ability to say it is, but the consequences of what you do are still very much there.
So is it really freedom of speech then? You know?
Oh, it definitely is, but you just got to be able to live with the consequences, and that's why you know, I don't put a lot of things on social media because how I'm feeling at that moment might not express the full content of what I mean to say. That's why I like to talk to people more than just putting something in the text message, put something in a post. I would rather say it because I have a lot to say, and I feel like a dialogue is better to be had than just a post to get your feelings out there. So I'm real specific on what if I ever post something, I've already thought about it a whole bunch. I went back and forth on the questions that I might get, the answers that I'm gonna throw out there after I put it out there, and yeah, but that can be dicey if you just sporadic and just put everything that you think on social media, because the fact that it can be saved, is the problem. Because sometimes you might not even remember what you say. All right, but if stuff can be saved, then that's a problem, because you'd be like, dang, did I say that? Like, what was I thinking when I said that? That's why I'd rather just have that live moment. Yeah, I think that's just better. So I'm real old school in that way.
Nah, it sound like you a Snapchat type person. Say it out there and then it's gone. So they can't
Never,
hold it against you.
never
Snapchat don't
download
leave
the Snapchat.
But see, I don't know. I think you have to let a person have their freedom of speech, right? Like, let them say what they want. Now, yeah, y'all are right. You know, it does not dismiss you from the consequences of whatever you awaken. But as far as like teachers getting fired for things on social media, my question is like, how do you draw the line? Because I know for sure, and I've told y'all, I've said some pretty dicey things myself, you know. So
The line is drawn in the code of ethics, I believe.
well, see, I haven't read them fully. I did see some things that slips my mind at the moment, but I remember seeing it because it was a section that was given when they gave us the handbook when I first started, and it had a little social media section, but I don't remember much from it because, you know, of course, at that time, for one, we rarely read those, but two, you know, things are
I read
different.
it.
Things are
I read
different.
it.
All
Read it
right,
too.
ladies and gentlemen, meet the first person who has ever read the handbook from the new job. But
When
nah,
I was becoming a teacher, it was on there, so I just read it, man.
right. I don't know. I have said some things that, you know, I think Twitter was it, where it shows you on this day 3 years ago or something like that,
No,
and it shows
Facebook
you.
does that. That's Facebook.
Oh, well, I don't even
Flashback.
have a
No one else can
Facebook.
see this, but you said this 7 years ago. Delete.
Right, and see, and it's like,
Just
man,
delete
like
the
I
whole
said.
page from 7 years
They
ago.
bring that up.
Oh yeah, they bring it back. Ooh,
Well, see, what's the statute of limitations? Because I was listening to I was listening to an episode of an online podcast, and I won't say the name of it, but that was kind of one of the things that they talked about recently was a comedian had said something or did something like 20 years ago, and people were bringing it back now, and it's like, okay, how long is that valid for? Like, when is the point to where it's like, all right, man, we can't bring that up anymore. He's a completely different person. She's a completely different person from then ago. So when is that line drawn?
The problem is that it's so subjective.
Mm-hmm.
It's so subjective. We don't even know. Like I'm spiritual with that. We are gonna pay for what we done in the past. All right. It is not. I don't feel like it's our job to be the judge of a whole person's character, of how a person was all the way 15 years ago. Like if he did, yeah, like you said, it could be a completely different person. That person don't even feel like that no more. I don't know the statute of limitations. I don't know where it stops, because recently in this world they bring up stuff from when you're 13 and hold you to it. So I don't know. I don't got the answer to that.
Have you ever said something dicey though? Like just something you knew, like, ooh.
Am I 29 years of living? I'm pretty sure I have, right? I'm pretty sure. If somebody was a fly on the wall living in my house.
Can you remember any of it?
I'm not gonna say it. What I just tell you. If this is a recorded video.
We just might get fired, but he ain't getting fired today.
You trying to trap me?
Hey,
this video recorded.
We need some what's the thing? The samples, you know, when somebody play like the little sound kits and stuff like that.
A drop. Need a drop.
Yeah, we drop.
So
we need to record some drops, bro. Like that would have been the perfect moment. We just might get fired, but we ain't getting fired today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to the social media and the text messages, when I did my first internship in college, 2007. My boss looked at me. She was a 40-ish black woman, right? Yeah, she was about mid upper 40s. She had a son that was 15, right? Looked me in the face. She's like, text on that phone a lot? Yeah. She said, baby, don't say nothing on that phone or on Facebook that you don't want to get up and read in front of church or in front of a courtroom. I said, what? She's like, yeah, baby.
Real talk.
All that stuff is going to be printed somewhere. And I never forget, it was 3 weeks into my internship, sheriff came up there with a subpoena, showed me the subpoena, said, all right, how long? She came from the back as the manager. She read the subpoena. She said, okay, give him whatever he asked for. He had a list of numbers. He said, I need every text message from this list of numbers over the past 2 years. I was like, what? I said, bro, I'm new. The floor lead, he was one of the leading sellers in Dallas. He came to us, let me show you this system. I need to show you anyway. Boom, went in. He said, what's the first number? Bet. Boom, how long? 2 years? Boom. Boom. Every text message in a couple keystrokes. Printed out. We gave them this much, a book of printed text messages from 10 numbers. They went and took that to court. These numbers was being used for whatever. They gave us the minimum amount of info to, like, you know what I'm saying? But it was for a criminal proceeding. And it was something that went between those numbers, and they were using that as evidence. And fam, on that day, I was like, anything crazy I'm saying in person. You're going to have to prove to someone else I said it. Because I ain't saying it in text, and I ain't saying it on the internet.
Scary.
Okay, well, see, for me, my thing, well, if you ask me, like my first method of contact, like my first choice is text message. I'll text, I don't know. Texting is just my favorite. It's my preferred. My second is face-to-face. Simply because I sometimes I say things and I listen to your words, but I also feed off of your actions. You know, feed off your movements and gestures.
The nonverbal cues.
Exactly. I pay attention to those a lot. So when you look at it, it's like, okay, well, that text message could get you in trouble because for one, they can screenshot it, which we know who invented screenshot, and I don't care what you say. but
do the history on that. I'm gonna have it for you next show.
Thank you.
I think I know, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to put up bad info out. So
we appreciate that, Mr. Brown.
Next time I got you.
But yeah, like I said, my first method of choice is text message. And see, one thing that I was told at an early age is, one, never talk down about another man to the other man. you know. So if there's something that I've said and it's about you, I've probably already said it to you. That way, somebody, you can't come back to me and say, well, so-and-so told me you said this about me. Yeah, I did. And I told you I said it. I said it to you. You know, that way I don't have to worry about covering my tracks or you know, worry about some he said, she said type stuff, because whatever I say to you, I'm 100% comfortable saying it to the other person. It's not, you know, it's not to push buttons. It's not to show, oh, I'm fearless or anything. That's just my personal code of conduct. You know, that's my personal belief. That's something that I stand on morally, that if I can't say it to you, I'm not going to say it to somebody else so they can run and tell you, because when they go back and tell you, it's not going to get transferred the right way. And I remember my first couple years, I played this game called Telephone with my kids. You know, you tell the first kid, you give them a sentence or something or some numbers. By the time it gets to that fifth kid, it's already messed up. And it's the same thing even with adults. So, yeah, you know, I'm not 100% on board with, you know, teachers getting fired for freedom of speech. But when they say some racial things, I understand that part, but do with them as you choose, I think, you know, because now we know who you are, you know.
Right.
So now don't be mad at us with how we treat you after you said that. And yeah.
Nah, but could you just imagine if it wasn't a consequence to what people say?
Oh yeah, we would
Like
have a George Floyd thing going on like we do right now, where there is no consequence that has been upheld, but we'll get to that later in the show.
so it has to be a consequence. It's two things. I think I heard it first from Shannon Sharp. He said it's two things that you can't take back, and it's time spent and words said. So you got to take those two things very. You can't take those two things lightly, because what you say you can't unsay it.
Mm-hmm.
So people are gonna hear it, and people are gonna feel a certain type of way about it. And when you put it in a text or in a social media post, it can be resaid. It can be brought up at any time. So you just
Well,
gotta
see, I keep my
gotta
receipts.
be careful.
So it's with me keeping my receipts. If you try to twist it and say it in a different way, I got the original copy, you know. And
Yeah, but
I'm
is
an English
perception
teacher.
reality?
I'm an English teacher. I play the word games. Try me.
Perception is reality. If people perceive it, they can just they can show.
Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
They
perception
can
is reality. Unfortunately,
they can take your words and spin it and to have you saying something totally different.
but that's why you keep that original copy, and you keep, you know, you keep them messages, and you be mindful. Like I do think twice before I say those things. You know, sometimes I do like to play that game. You know, we talked about that in the last episode, you know.
And,
But
and
at the same
context
time,
is
though, too, I also even like when I'm sending out a tweet, right? Before I hit send or post or whatever it is, I proofread that thing at least 10 times. You know, just OCD and me as an English teacher, shout out to us. But I'm going to look at that thing about 10 times. And I'm kind of like y'all, you know, I look at it and I already have expectations of the feedback it's going to get. You know, I have expectations of somebody taking it to left field. So then I know I may have to send a follow-up tweet or something like that. But I don't think it's okay that they single out one tweet or, you know, one post. You know, I think if you're going to do that, you got to look at it as a whole, because just like we talked
but
about.
people don't do that.
They don't. But just like we talked about, like our classrooms, if you walk in my classroom at the wrong time and you hear some of the stuff I say, you're going to be, oh my God, we need to fire him. We need to, until you sit down and understand that I have created a certain climate in my classroom. You know, I have created a level of trust. I have created a level of security amongst my kids to where I can get the most out of them and give them the opportunity to say what they really thinking. Because to be honest, the best social media is the honest social media, the real social media, the stuff that we really thinking, but people are afraid to say. And, you know, social media, as much as we hate to admit it, it's important nowadays. I've been on a cleanse from it for months now, but it's important. You know, jobs use it. We use it. girls screenshot it and send it to you when it's my bad. That's another conversation. That ain't we just might get fired, but y'all know what I'm saying.
You real
Yeah.
soft about the screenshot.
Yeah, he don't like that.
With the history of the screenshot.
But context is so important, and people don't take context into play all the time. Like, can you imagine, like, you see the tweets that's happening now or the post that's happening now and try to relate it to 30 years down the road, when if this is not, it's this the whole culture has changed. Like, the culture was so different.
So you said
the culture
30
was so
years.
different. Yeah. The culture was so different 30 years ago. And you trying to bring stuff up and relate it to now? Like, how dare you? How dare you bring up Eddie Murphy Raw, right? And try to condemn Eddie Murphy for what he said in that time period.
It's still funny too, though. No,
Oh, it is funny. But I'm just saying, though, that it was a different time. It was a different time. So context is important, and people just don't respect context because it takes too much work.
So then, are you okay with them firing teachers over their social media?
No, I think it's consequences to actions, man. I think, that the employers or jobs, they don't have a moral conscience. They just have I don't even know if that goes with this argument. I probably shouldn't have used that. But if a person if a person says something that's not in line with the job, then they just gotta go, man.
On my own social media, though?
On your own social media, you're responsible for your words. It's in the code of ethics. It's already written. The rules are there. If the rules was not there, if it wasn't a part of it, then no, I don't believe you should get fired over it. But if the rules is already there, you knew the rules, that it says that you were a teacher at all times. At all times, that's what it says in there. It says that you're a teacher at all times, even when you're at home.
Absolutely.
That's what it says. That's what it said. But that's what it says in the code of ethics.
That's what it says. It says it does. I was like, that's
when I read that,
I'm not on duty.
When I read that, when they said that you can like have a party at your house and the student can be there, and if the alcohols are being served and the students drink something, you are liable, even if y'all not in school at that time.
Well, see, that's it. That's an
adult. That's not even a teacher thing. That's an adult thing. Like,
I'm just saying.
See, that's the last straw right there.
Don't drink
how you gonna tell me that I'm a teacher at all times, but yet y'all don't want to pay me for the time that I do work? Nah.
Technically, we're salary, so we get paid all the time.
Yeah.
Just it's the same thing with cops. Like, it's
you one of them dudes?
Yeah, well, not. It's the math. But no, like, my partner's a cop, like, and it's just really weird that he can be off duty, but if something big enough happens, and he knows when these things happen that he's to go in, even if it's his off day. And I'm like, so what do you do if you're drinking? He like, we just kind of figure it out. Or like, I have to call him and tell him, like, bro, I'm drunk. Like, I can't, because if I don't come and they find out that I wasn't, like, I have to report still in whatever way. But they have a set of rules that go with that. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you're always on duty. And he like, everybody that works for the state is, because that's how it's written. We're kind of always on duty. They
part of being a teacher, bro.
Tell us don't take work home, but then look at you sideways when you don't take the work home.
Hey, I'm telling you right now. Hey, I'm gonna look y'all dead in y'all eyes.
Tell them.
Mr. M is not taking work home, okay? I don't want you to think that I don't work hard, but I have a family and they deserve all of me. Just like when I'm at work, I give my students and my administration all of me. But when I am at home, the school, the district, the admin, they get nothing of me. I don't answer text messages, emails, none of that. Why? Because I'm a multifaceted person. And those people at home, once again, deserve all of me. That way.
Straight like that.
Like, nah, do that. And then, Mr. McMillan said it. He said, they're supposed to be the teacher. Nah, we're going to stop that right now.
Okay? It's written.
We're going to stop. We're going to stop saying that part. Nah, that's a part of the job. No, hey. No, okay? Yes, we are human too. I was the only, I told y'all, I think, I didn't even know my teachers left the school. I thought my teachers all stayed at school. And so when I sent one of my teachers away from school, I was like, What you doing here?
Aren't
ain't
you
in
supposed
school?
to be at school?
I thought your room was your house. That's
Thought
why.
you lived there.
Don't you live there? Nobody got a lamp and stuff in there. You got a small refrigerator in there. Don't you live there? Don't you
Exactly. And she had the little couch, you know,
Teachers up.
story time couch, the little love seat. So, you know, I already had in my mind, oh, this is where teachers are all the time. They don't never leave. Not knowing they got families and kids at home too, you know. And so
Right.
I just think, you know, that when we're at work, now let's say I'm on my lunch, but I'm still at work. Now, if I tweet something or I post something, then without a doubt, you got to get that person out of there, you know.
But what you don't realize is that it's always like that.
What you mean?
When you at home, you just on lunch break. That's what you don't understand.
It's just a long one. You're on your dinner break.
McMillan, that's probably the funniest thing you said all year.
8-hour break.
What you don't realize is that when you at home,
you just on a long lunch break.
You gonna get it, man.
I think every teacher
bro.
can agree to that, bro. Like, for real, when you at home, hey, you ain't off. You on a long lunch break, and you better hurry up and eat because the bell gonna ring, and that bell is your alarm clock.
Mm-hmm.
You know these kids put comments in Google Classroom now, and I still feel obligated to answer them because I'm their teacher.
They're off,
and I will always be their teacher. That's the thing about being a teacher, man.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not.
I said I feel obligated. That don't mean I'm gonna do it, but I feel obligated.
You have got to draw the line. Like,
I'm just saying what I feel. Can I say what I feel? That's what I feel.
I got an embarrassing moment for the email.
All right.
So I had a kid text me today about a test that was at 1 p.m. yesterday. Do I need to take the retake? What retake? The makeup AP exam, or the one that was yesterday at 1 p.m. She just sent back a bunch of dead emojis. I was like, "Yep, your grade dead too. Have a great summer. Bye."
And who gets held responsible for that?
Mm-hmm. It's in all, bro. I made a separate Google Classroom for the retesters. So I pulled all the retesters from my other 3 sections, and I made them their own little nice ecosystem. Put it on the calendar, gave them some more supplemental information and assignments to get them ready. Multiple kids was doing the work. And I told them, I'm not grading it, but you can do it. And you'll know if you feel good about it. Because you know when you write a good paper. Mr. Milledge, I feel like you know when you write a good paper, you can feel it. So my thing is I told them, use the timers that are on the assignments, chug through them, get them reps in, just like we would at any practice. Get them reps in. But it was hilarious today, to midday. Miss Brown, I'm just trying to get ready for this test whenever it is. It was yesterday, baby. Bye. Have a great summer. Like, it's cool. Thanks for swinging. Bye.
A great summer.
Have a great summer. He wasn't like, all my messages end with have a great summer. Like, I don't care. Well, it's on you, fam.
Bro, kids still turning in assignments. School was out last week. They still turning in assignments.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to screenshot some of these messages I got the last hours of school. Erase their names. I'm just the panic that some of these kids experience. And I'm like, where you been at for a month though? You know, I'm looking at this messages like, I hope nobody show their parents, because I know the parents like, man, your teacher's an a-hole, bro. Like, where you been at for the last month though? Why are you talking to me about this? Like, child, I turned your grade in an hour ago. You got that smooth 50. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
easy.
hey, baby, I appreciate you for letting my grading be so easy. Zeros are easy to grade. Blanks
they super easy.
Easy. It's nothing. Like,
I put out my previous school made a list of the summer school kids.
Mm-hmm.
I told my kids, I had already gave them plenty of time. Hey, get your work done by this day. On this day, I'm gonna take all of that previous work. Okay, all of it. If you don't do it by this day, I cannot help you after that. So I get a couple kids who had so much work to do. They tried to play the game of submit a blank to buy some time.
Submit. 14 of them. 14, Coy.
Yeah,
14 assignments.
It was about right. If I was so good with video editing, I would hold my phone up and scroll through and show y'all. It was literally about 14 assignments that came in all within 30 minutes. And I'm like, this assignment alone took at least 20. I'm your reading teacher. I know your reading level. This assignment alone took at least 20. And you did it in 6 minutes ago from that last one. I don't even open it at that point. I just go ahead and go on and catch that smooth zero, buddy. Don't worry.
You working on
them
6 screens?
trash.
Delete. Start. Send them a message. Try again.
That's for real. And my mute button, man, I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. You know, where you hold the mute with the I don't know. My stuff not working today. Zoom, what's up? But anyway, also the social media thing that I did not get to hit with y'all. We know the freedom of speech with the words part, but what about the pictures? And I right, okay, hold on. Now, I'm not talking about the pictures that are like, you know, just blatantly no. Oh no. I'm talking about those pictures where it's just, you know what I'm saying? And I say that in the sense of you got a beer bottle or something in your hand and you clearly are drunk, intoxicated in the picture. You know. Now,
No.
No.
I can get drunk. Am I drunk driving? Am I doing something lewd while I'm drunk? Like I can be intoxicated.
It's questionable. My brain not picking up on any code of ethics right now. So
yeah, I can be drunk. You know what I'm saying? Drunk with students. I can't be drunk on a field trip. I can't be drunk on a college trip. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta be like,
we're gonna take the trip to UNT and I'm gonna just slide the Fry Street while the keep this presentation, and then I'm gonna slide into the presentation. I can't do that.
Hey,
I'm at the group.
Don't bring up Fry Street.
Hey,
the week
when we going?
that night I graduated. I mean that the day. Oh my God.
Fry Street. I ain't heard that in like in some years.
Oh my God. All right, let's stop joking around. My computer just messed up real quick. Let's stop joking around. I wanted to take a minute, you know, in this last few minutes that we are here together, and just kind of get y'all's point of view on the obvious, right? Like this George Floyd situation it's everywhere, you know, it's on everything. And me personally, I don't have an answer, you know, for this. Am I feeling some sort of way? You better believe it. And so my only thing is, you know, how do we fix what we know has been broken for years, you know? And I've heard a lot of answers, you know, and people give answers that come from here instead of here. Because if somebody's thinking from here and somebody's thinking from here, it's not going to work when they come out of here, you know?
That's
right. So
I
just want to hear, you know, just from y'all, just your take on it, you know, things you would say, do, just anything you got.
The answer is multifaceted for me. I don't have the exact answer. My answer is just it's reparations. What happened to Black people was specific, very specific. We was dealt the hand. We was dealt. It was specific to us. It was ruled specifically geared toward us that stopped us from getting ahead. So in order for the system to be broken, it needs to be something specific for Black people to get ahead. All right. And that's something specific is reparations. If I feel like if we ain't talking reparations, we're not talking about nothing. All right. If we're not talking the 40 acres that was promised, all right, we're not talking about nothing. All right. You can, and we was talking to Clay earlier. If you're not talking about the 40 acres in land, then the 40 acres in monetary value and money value, we ain't talking about nothing. And that's trillions of dollars. I want a third. We ain't talking about a third of the United States for Black people to build their own communities, schools, businesses, and that nobody else can buy. All right. I don't feel like we're talking about nothing. I feel like that's the only way. We gotta police ourselves. We gotta have our own businesses. We gotta have our own community. All right. I don't feel like we would be having these same problems if we was in our own community if we was policing ourselves.
So that's your answer. That's your partake on this.
That's my take on it.
You think
all right, we can't.
You can't drive us back to segregation though if we do that?
Oh, yes. Segregation. I mean, I don't have a problem with segregation. It was separate but equal.
It was never equal.
When I talked to
it was separate, but it was not equal.
we was. I'm saying the people. When I talked to older people, they was fighting for separate but equal. All right, separate but equal. That's what they wanted. All right, we integrated into MLK in his later years said, I integrated my people into a burning building. Okay, you don't integrate and trade in all your businesses to be employees. All right, that was a problem. And then another problem is that when we exited slavery, we still had to live in the land of our oppressors. You can't, I'm free now, and now I got to ask my oppressors for a job. All right, that hasn't changed. That's the problem. But that's where I'm gonna stop it.
Mr. Brown.
Stopping you was on, you know what I'm saying? But
Mr. Brown, everybody take a deep breath.
Nah, I'm chill out a little bit. But McMillan's on the path. I just think he's further in the path than where we're going to get now. You're at the ending stages of how to make it right. We're not even on the stage with him yet, right? So like my thing is like things need to happen here so we can get that growth. So then we can really talk about fixing it. Like right now we went from years and years of not being heard. As I stated, this feels different. This doesn't feel like Philando Castile. This doesn't feel like Sandra Bland because those things were gone in a week, right? 2-3 days later, it was over. We was worried about Sandra because that was here in Texas, right? We was listening to stuff, but like for the nation to just all of us at once, everyone, you know, when I seen what's going on in Minnesota, the first night I was like, okay, that's nice. The next thing I'm looking up, it's going on in Dallas, it's in Fort Worth, it's in LA. And so there is this weird mixture of things going on right now. And as a history teacher, and I still speak with my colleagues at school, because when we were going through the pandemic, as history teachers, we don't get to teach pandemics, but we learn about them. And so I was like, you know, this looks a lot like the influenza pandemic. It even followed the same crazy racist even type deal. Like, you know, for forever, the influenza pandemic was called the Spanish flu because Spain was the first country to actually report real numbers. And so the whole world blamed it on Spain when after it was looked at years later, like, oh, you know, it didn't even start in Spain, one. And the Spanish weren't even like the most contagious. They were the first ones to start really reporting to the rest of the world, hey, there's something going on and we cannot control it. So they got blamed for it. Just like, you know, our wonderful president calling this the Wuhan flu. And get out of here. You know, but see, sprinkles of racism. That's America right there. So my thing is just when living through the pandemic, and so now the pandemic has shut a lot of stuff down. We're slowly reopening, and then this happens. Like America opens, and in less than 2 weeks, a black man's killed for no reason. How American, right? Because that's what this is. And now there's nothing for people to look at. Usually it's, oh, well, there's a football game this Sunday, or it's baseball this week, or it's basketball. There's nothing else for you to lie and say you didn't see it. So you didn't see that, Sarah? You didn't see that, Sally? And then the crazy thing is with social media, we're talking about how social media can be a hindrance to your job. Social media is also the thing, and I don't think the people who created it know, it's going to be the thing that's going to even this bad boy out because all these injustices that used to be, you know, if you don't, like we from Dallas. We lived in the hood. You see the stuff that happens with cops. But we knew. White people never knew. Now you know. And you can't even hide it. You can't even act like you don't know. It's readily available. You don't have to go and do like a public works search or have to go through like court documents to find stuff. You can. Those things are free. It takes a little effort. If you want to see how people have been being treated badly, just go read some court documents. You can find out real quick when people get disposed. But people don't want to do that. It takes too much work. But I can go on Twitter and I can open up and say, oh, why does this cop be on this man? What is going on here? And my thing is, I wanted to keep going. These riots, these demonstrations need to go to all 4 of the cops are in jail. I'm not fine with just a dude because there's a cop standing next to him and 2 on the other side of him. And ain't none of y'all got the sense to say, hey, fam, get up. He's down, get up. He's detained, get up. He's in cuffs, get up.
Well, see, they don't really do that because it's a camaraderie thing, right? You know, when you get back to the station, you got to answer like, hey, man, why you embarrass me in front of them people? You know?
No, I heard that he was a senior officer, so he was really showing them how it's done.
Oh,
right? He was a senior officer.
That's how it
new
happens.
to me.
That's how the KKK do it. They
The
put
rank.
they put their boys in the ranks. And so now, even though I'm a good person, but I'm this lower ranking cop, if he tell me to do something and I don't do it, I'm gonna get fired. Now there are ways and pathways around that, but it's such a boys' club that no one does these things. And that's what we have to be. Again, you said it perfectly. We were freed slaves and then had to go beg our oppressors for jobs. Well, they, being in charge, have built these systems where it don't take 60 of them to do something. They just got to put that one person in that one spot and make sure we always have one of our boys in this spot, and he'll take care of everything under here. And then we put one of our boys above him and make sure that between these two people, they're going to take care of everything. And they keep everybody in line. They keep the rank and file moving the way they want them to move.
Not only that, they created the game. They created the game that we play.
That's it.
Some of us don't even know we playing the game. They created the game, and
All
then
right.
they made us play by the rules. Come on now.
We Just Might Get Fired. Episode 4, Season 2, The Teacher's Lounge. We are out.